Welcome to episode number 7 of Scrap Radio, brought to you by bjpen.com. Thank you for tuning into our show today. This week we have a cast of interesting characters. First up is a man who's part of racing's royal family. It's kind of crazy, man. I'm actually really pumped to talk to Mr. Jeffrey Eanhardt, who is coming off his victorious MMA debut. We're going to have to find out what it's like, man, stepping in the cage, hitting that oval, running them cars, see what's a bigger rush. And then we have UFC 146 competitor, or 146. I'm going to have to stop numbering these things. Jacob Volkmann. And last but not least, I guess I'm going to be on the spotlight today. This time around, it's going to be my little brother who will be hitting me up with questions. I'm hoping they ain't too tough, but I'm sure it's going to get nasty about my career, possible next fight. If I'm going to hang up the gloves or bury the shoes or whatever it is. But bigger than that, in case you guys missed it, we just did launch that official Just Scrap Twitter account. So it's about 2 weeks ago. So check us out and make sure to follow us at Just Scrap Radio. We're checking it throughout the show and the broadcast, in between, after, the morning and night. We also, if you notice, we do answer some of those questions. So make sure you throw out your comments. Don't make them too nasty if you could. And of course, I have my brother co-host, the Buck Wild, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Abel Pulver. What's up, buddy?
I'm good. I'm doing good over here, buddy. What's up with you? Before we even get started, obviously coming off a big Memorial weekend, not just fighting, but I'd like to throw a special thanks out to our servicemen and women around the world. Two in particular, just off the top of my head, we both know these guys, Sergeant Jason Capel and Lieutenant Colonel Jackson Van Tress of Fort Hood in Texas. I hope you guys had a great weekend and got to enjoy some great barbecue with the fam, man.
Yeah, hey, it was, you know what? I got to chill in Texas a little bit, which again, we were talking about it before we started airing. It's wild, man. Okay, I'm starting to realize everything is bigger in Texas. It's pretty crazy. We're out there, we're shooting commercials for the Cross Desk with Red Harbinger. And I'm outside just kind of hanging out, seeing a guy pull this big old door open and decides he's just going to jump on his little plane there. And he rolled it right down the road with to the neighbors. Hey, like he was throwing paper, like he was a newspaper guy. And then he rolled down the road and hit in the gear and took off, took a flight. I guess that's got to be pretty sick when you go right out of your bedroom, straight to the living room and into your plane and off you go. So it was a lot of fun, I mean, I was I was definitely having a good time, but we'll shut up and let's go right after this card. Did you get a chance to see it? I'm going to ask that corny question.
I did. I watched it, obviously. You know me, I don't miss much as far as the fights go. Every time one's on, I try to plop my butt right in front of the TV and get a good vantage point if I'm not there live. And, man, great card. I mean, top to bottom. First and foremost, Dan Hardy, you have me eating humble pie. I'm eating crow today. I did predict Ludwig to win that fight. And Dan Hardy, I'm really proud of him, actually. I think he did a great job proving me wrong and proving other people wrong as well, coming off a series of losses. And he really did. He brought it. And it wasn't all the flair and the oi and any of that. He just straight brought it like a fighter, and then he was all classy afterwards. And so big props to Dan Hardy. I'm eating my words, and actually I'm liking it. I'm enjoying eating them, buddy. What fight stood out for you, Jens?
Well, obviously, big country. I just can't get enough of the man. I love him. And, I mean, we were talking about earlier, I don't know exactly what he packs inside those gloves, but damn, he's a fighter, true and true. He's not the guy. And again, I'm not pointing at his build or anything like that, but it's not like he's out there. I remember in old school, they're trying to look as tan and as big as they can get and muscled up and you know what I'm saying? He's just like, look, we're going to fight. Let's do this. I got some skills. And if you can duck this bomb I'm about to throw right upside your head, then hey, more power to you. And I'll be damned. Somebody didn't duck it because boom. No offense to Herman, but good Lord, that was a shot. You know what I'm saying? So it gets, it was crazy. So, I got to give him just, man, hats off, thumbs up, golf clap, whatever you want to throw. That one was that was a shocker. And then everybody's wanting to run into this whole, who's next for JDS, what's going to happen. So I guess first thing we can do is Cain Velasquez. What kind of statement did he make? What was your thoughts about it? And Is he next in line?
Well, looking back at the fight, I mean, my God, that was a bloodbath. Literally a bloodbath. It was one of those fights. It was hard to watch. It had me cringing at times, watching blood spray all over the canvas. And I mean, standing pools, he cut him open, and just, I mean, bashed the ever living shit out of him is all you can really say about that. And yeah, you know, he looked great. But to tell you the truth, Jens, it wasn't that I didn't see it coming. I thought pretty much that's how the fight was going to go. And, you know, obviously I didn't expect the guy's head to burst open and like he was a ship taking on water. But at the same time, I did expect it to be a fairly easy return for Cain Velasquez. I thought his speed and his ability to wrestle were probably going to carry the day for him, and they did. And, you know, looking at the fight, to be honest, I don't know what really changes in a rematch between Cain Velasquez and JDS. Maybe the amount of time it goes. But I just don't really see it changing a whole lot for Cain. But maybe he's got some tricks up his sleeve that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't, you know, based on the last time they fought and the way it obviously it ended, you know, how quick it ended, you're still trying to make up how can I make it a full, 5 rounds with this guy, let alone what's your game plan going to be, how are you going to change things up. It wasn't like it was very close the first time. So, yeah, it'll be cool to see how, digging into his own pockets, what he's come up with, how much of a different style of fight it could be or would be or might be, but hey, at the end of the day, my hat's off, man. JDS is that is a tough champ. That's going to be a tough guy to beat. And not even so much, going off this fight, but it doesn't even really compare to what could happen the next time. But before we even get started about this main event and the heavyweight title, I gotta get His Highness on here, man. The young buck, from the Eanhardt family. Jeffrey Eanhardt, he's in here. He should be on. This is cool. Got a goosebump in my arm. We're going to talk to him about some MMA, but I want to talk about the pits. I want to see what's going on in there. Jeff, you on?
Yeah, I'm here. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just living the life, I
guess. Well, aren't we all, though? I mean, it's just kind of what you do. But, I mean, I want to jump straight into it right off the bat. And, all right, obviously the pedigree that you come from, you probably had a steering wheel in your hand from day one, been racing, starting with the big wheels and getting down. But what got you into the MMA side of things? What was that? Was that something you've wanted to do for a long time? Something you started getting into kind of as a part-time, hey, I'm not racing today, so I'm going to go in here and punch on a bag. What got you into the MMA side of things?
Well, I guess a lot of it kind of started. I wrestled in high school for 2 years, and then racing kind of took over, and I didn't really have a lot of time for wrestling anymore, and became a fan of UFC. I always watched it. Me and my buddies would always get together, hang out, and watch the fights every time they were on, and it was just a cool sport. It was just a lot of discipline, a lot of just hard work that these guys put into it to be a fighter. And I went and started doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu training, just doing a little bit here and there, trying to stay in shape and trying to find different avenues to stay fit for racing. Whenever I'm not racing, finding something to keep me physically fit to get back in the car the next time. And I started training a little bit, and just kind of really liked it. And everybody seemed to think I was picking up real fast on it and thought I was doing pretty well, and asked me if I'd be interested in doing an amateur fight. And I was kind of cautious at first because it's not my sport. I'm the new guy coming in, and I didn't want anything to be taken the wrong way for doing it. But then again, a part of me wanted to prove that race car drivers are athletes. A lot of people like to argue and say race car drivers don't do nothing but sit in a race car and turn left, and it's a lot tougher than that. So I figured doing this would probably gain a little more respect for race car drivers, and also I could have a little fun doing it.
And Jeff, it's kind of funny because I was having this conversation with my own mother last week, every time I'm in the car with my mom is constantly telling me, slow down, slow down. You're going too fast. You're going to get in a crash. But my mom doesn't seem to have any problem with either of us getting in a ring and lacing them up. So was it kind of a reverse for you for that? I mean, did you have problems like did your family think, hey, what are you doing? This is crazy in comparison, obviously, to flying around a racetrack at 200 miles an hour. What was your family's reaction like?
That they were supportive. They weren't too sure about it, but they were supportive of it. My stepmom, she wouldn't even come to the fight. She said she couldn't watch it. She wasn't going to watch it on the internet on pay-per-view. She didn't want no part of it. She still hadn't went back and watched the fight since even after I had the fight and won. But my dad, he actually came out. It was really great to have him there. He was a little unsure at the start of it too. He really didn't know because I never was really like the tough guy, I guess you would say, through school or growing up. Never got in a fight, never did any of that stuff, just wrestling. And that's about it. But they weren't sure how the outcome was going to go. They've always supported me in anything I decided to do, but they really weren't sure. And I think after I ended up winning the fight, I think that's one of the proudest moments I've ever seen my dad. He was really proud after the fight, so it was really cool.
Hey, and that debut obviously was May 12th. You won a unanimous decision. Take us back through your debut. What was it like for you? I mean, you're standing in the locker room. You're about to come out. You're about to walk down a ramp. You have no wheels. You got no pit crew, really, as far as that goes. How did it feel walking down there, one guy in a cage with just one other guy?
It was funny. Everybody kept telling me, you're going to get butterflies. You're going to be nervous, this and that, and all the whole time in the locker room, getting my hand wrapped, just chilling, hanging out, and picking around with the guys, trying to relax and have a good time, and never really got nervous. And then I started thinking, man, if I'm not nervous now, it's probably gonna happen when I step in the ring. And then I walked out, got in the ring, and it was kind of like tunnel vision. I just kind of drowned everything out, and just walked in with the attitude of, all right, well, this is what I got to do. And you either go in there and you win, or you go in there and you get beat up. And I didn't really want to get beat up. That's I don't think anyone ever does whenever they step in the ring. But it was just kind of funny how I never really got nervous, and I was able to keep calm in the situation with it being my first fight, and coming into a sport where I wasn't extremely familiar with, and I've had a few months of training, but not several years of training like a lot of these other people. And plus you got a whole crowd there. You got a lot of people that are against you in this whole thing. They didn't want to see me do successful in the fight, and I was set out to prove them that I was going to win, and I was going to prove a point, and that's what I went and did.
No, congratulations on that. And that was one of the things. So when you got into that fight, I'm sitting here on the other end thinking, I can only imagine what it's like to get inside this car and have to just get ready to rev up, and you're rubbing bumpers, you're getting crazy. And you're listening. You can hear what I would call your cornerman. You can hear your coach, telling you how things are going from the outside view. Did you find it just as easy, or was it difficult to hear your cornerman in your corner when they're looking, they're doing the same thing. They're watching you fight. They're that set of eyes that are outside looking in. Did you find, because some people, you get into that tunnel vision where you just got this mole going through your own brain. You're not hearing anything. You can barely hear yourself. And then there's some people that are real clear, real focused, and they can hear their corner. Did you find yourself at the time in the cage going, man, I can't hear nothing. I can't hear, or could you hear clearly and find that comfort zone real fast? Or was it something you had to work your way into when you stepped in there?
Yeah, I felt like I was able to get in that comfort zone pretty quick. I went in there to fight a Muay Thai guy, and I knew that he was a lot better than me standing up, and I haven't really worked with my hands a lot, and he had some pretty good kicks, and my goal is to use my wrestling background, take him to the ground, and work from there, because that's what I trained the hardest on, was my jiu-jitsu, and we're just working, ground and pound and stuff like that. So, once I, took him down the first time, and I realized, that, the takedowns weren't going to be that hard to attack, and, and actually be successful with them, I was able to kind of get in that comfort zone, and I started, working towards, working towards the corner where my corner was, and being able to listen to my coaches. That's something they told me, before the fight. They're like, I don't care what you do, just go out there, circle, and bring him to us. And I was like, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what I went out there, went out, touched gloves, circle, and took him to my corner, and then just tried to listen to everything they were saying from there. And like you said, it really did relate a lot to in racing. We got people talking through the radios the whole entire race, telling us what everybody else is doing, what lines are faster, or anything like that. So it was very similar. You're able to just kind of listen and take their advice, and then use it to better yourself and better your position, or your points in the fight. So it was really neat, and it all worked out really good.
Oh, so you got me laughing right off the bat, because that was, again, you just brought me back to, I remember, Pat Miletich, and Matt Hughes really made it famous, but one of the first things we'd ever do when the fight started, we went running out, and our first goal was to cut off from him here in his corner, pick that guy up, and that's where Matt got real famous, picking him up, carrying him, and literally slamming him down right into the corner, where now you're like, okay, I'm home. Nobody's having to yell. They're right in front of me. All right, we got everything. And, I'm making a note. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. What you do inside that race car, you are absolutely an athlete on that angle. And then to step into the combative side, I think the way you have to have that, for most people, it does seem like, the first time you hike that ball, or the first time you step on the gas, or the first second the referee says go, for some people that stuff just goes a million miles a minute, but somehow you can find a way to keep it calm. And as an athlete, because of what you do inside that car, is that what helped? Did you feel that helped transition, again, for when everything starts moving 1,000 miles a minute, everything's moving quick, you're able to stay calm, focus, pick out the voices you wanted to hear, and did that start to give you that momentum where, okay, I know where I'm at, I'm having fun here, I'm going to start, or did you get to that other side where it's like, oh God, I can't hear anybody, I'm panicking, this sucks. So what I mean to say is, did that help you, again, being an athlete, coming over and fighting like this, to get them over to that corner, and how fast it seemed like you quickly were able to adjust and slow the speed down so that you could start hearing and basically having that conversation with your corner?
Yeah, definitely. In racing, I've a lot of things I've been through in life, I've been put in really tough situations that made the pressure a lot higher with the Eanhardt last name, and having so much to live up to with all that my grandfather did in the racing side of the sport. It was just that's huge pressure. That it's hard to really to really tell people to where they understand, but. I do feel like the fact of being put under such high pressure situations all throughout my life was a big reason I was able to adjust so well in this fight, and be able to just go in there and stay focused and continue doing what the coaches told me to do before I stepped in the cage. And then once I got over to the ground, just kind of take a pause and just kind of realize just keep listening to the coaches, and that's something I kept trying to tell myself. Just keep listening to them, trying to hear what they're saying, and my coaches were great coaches. They really worked hard and pushed me hard to make that fight go in my favor and win. So I knew they weren't going to steer me wrong. I knew they were going to tell me exactly what to do and be a big help. So I leaned on them as much as I could, and that's the way I went about the fight, is to use every every bit of advice, every bit of help that I could use going in there, because I'm new to it. I don't really know a lot, and it obviously worked out in the best for me.
And to expand on the idea a little bit now of the people looking at even athletics and what's an athlete, what isn't an athlete, you're now looking at it from an educated point of view. So, which is harder? Is it harder being in a long, grueling race, in the car, or is it harder being in a 3-round fight? Which one would you say is more difficult?
It was funny. We kind of discussed that after the fight. The best way I think I could put it is a fight is a whole entire race crammed in my case it was 9 minutes, but a fight is just a race crammed in that short amount of time. The adrenaline rush is the same. It's high intensity the whole time. There's no breaks. You don't get to get out and just relax for 30 minutes and then go back at it. You got to constantly keep going, and that's exactly the best way to put it. Is it's a race crammed in a short period of time, and I think what made the fighting part harder is the training. I mean, in racing, I wouldn't say that there's race car drivers training as hard as they do to do a fight. That's for sure. I mean, those guys are. Fighters are just true athletes. They really are. It's a tough sport. It's tough on the body. It's you got to be mentally tough. I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into being able to be an MMA fighter that I have a ton of respect for after doing it for. I mean, I had respect for MMA fighters before, but it's a whole new respect whenever you actually go do it yourself and you actually do exactly what they go through, and it's definitely eye-opening, that's for sure.
So you're saying that TRT replacement, PEDs, and steroids aren't nearly as prevalent then in the world of NASCAR?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I'm not real sure. I wouldn't think they would be as effective now.
You're saying Tony Stewart isn't suffering from roid rage then?
No, he's. I think that's just his personality.
And another question here. Obviously, there's people that have grown up, and I see them everywhere. The 3 stickers everywhere, and your family is literally, I mean, you're royalty in this country. I mean, in all aspects, you guys are considered the cream of the crop. You're famous everywhere you guys go. I mean, I'm sure it's got to have its ups and it's got to have its downs. But as a person that looks up to your family, it's got to be kind of strange being in that family and then thinking, who do you look up to? Like, who are some of the guys, maybe MMA, NASCAR, the people that have taught you stuff? Who are some of your idols?
I mean, obviously, one of the biggest people I look up to is my dad. I mean, my dad's been through a lot, and just, I mean, he's really helped me throughout life with things that I probably wouldn't have ever made it through without him. And he's probably the biggest person I look up to. My grandfather obviously is another one. Outside of my family, any of the old school racers, Tim Richmond, a lot of the guys from back then that really just went out there and they were all out, fearless, hard-working guys that really did their best in the sport to make it where it is today. Are guys that I really look up to. Racing's gotten away from the old school style where it was a bunch of hard racing people that weren't scared and didn't complain and cry like girls. And today there's a few of them out there that just like to whine and complain about every little thing. And also NASCAR, they've taken away a lot of the fun of the sport, but I feel like they're slowly starting to get back to it, and I think that's just going to continue helping the sport, as it continues. But on the MMA side of things, obviously, I mean, I don't see how you can not like John Jones. He, in my opinion, he's a freak athlete. It's unreal watching him fight, just the way he's able to pick people apart, and I'd say out of anyone, he's probably my favorite. That's probably about the only one I really care to watch these days is John Jones. it's just unreal being able to watch him fight and be able to just shut people's game plans down and then dominate them from there. It was unreal watching him fight Rashad and just how he made Rashad look like he was a new guy coming in the sport. It was pretty awesome to see how athletic he is.
Yeah, you couldn't have picked a better one. Bones Jones. I love that boy. So now, having done the cage, and obviously, is it something that you'll want again? But more important than that is what's next. When you getting behind the seat again? When you get behind the wheel, and what's coming up? I mean, what's happening for you in the next couple months?
Well, the next couple of months, I got a lot going on. I got the nationwide race in Daytona coming up. It's about a month away. It's July 6th, and we got Tobacco Free Florida on the car for a sponsor, and they're wanting us to come down and kind of help promote people not smoking cigarettes or any kind of tobacco, and so I got a lot lined up to do with appearances for them, going around to schools and stuff like that, and just trying to get the word out there. And I got about a month straight of doing that, and then I got my race there. But I'm definitely interested in getting back in the cage again. When I'm not 100% sure, it'll definitely be after my race in July. But I'm definitely looking to get back in the cage and go at it again, because that was just that's too much fun to only do once. That's for sure.
Oh, perfect, brother. Well, I mean, I know on the 6th, I'm going to be paying attention. I wish you all the best of luck, and I can only, I mean, from everything I'm seeing and everything I'm reading about, you are absolutely living up to that moniker, the name that you come from, and I want to wish you the best, man, for real, and look forward to seeing you back in that cage. And if there's anything we can do here at Just Scrap, you just let us know. And again, man, all the best. Be safe, and thank you for taking the time to come on and talk with us.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you again soon. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Abel Pulver. That's a different world right there. I like it, man. I just see a lot of the same kind of thing. I mean, the amount of reaction and that you have to have inside that car, again, as fast as it moves inside the cage on that track. A lot of people, I mean, that's the hardest part about stepping it up to that professional aspect of it. I mean, it's one thing to sit there and, it's tough to, to really explain to people just how, just how fast it is that it's moving. It's hard to break it down for people. It's almost one of those things where you got to experience it one way or another when you're doing something, at that level, just how fast it's moving,
Yeah, I've ridden in a car with you, so I know what being terrified is all about. So.
Whatever. Oh, so who do we have on the line right now? Abel Pulver. I already know who it is. I just was trying to get Abel to do the intro, but I got my man Jacob Volkmann. Are you on here, young man?
Yeah, I'm here.
There you go. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Could be better, right?
Well, hey, come on now. Who are you talking to? Who you come now. So, what's going on in your head after that fight? What's going, how you the rebound? You getting back into the gym right off the bat? You're going to take some time to recollect, what's going on in your melon right now as far as your next steps?
Well, next steps, I already started training. I went for a run this morning just to let off some steam. I don't know. There's really not much to say. I got to get back in there. I got bills to pay, right?
Yeah, and hey, you were on a 5-fight win streak coming into that fight. Obviously, no reason to hang your head about one loss. But you looking back on the fight now? You've had a few days to reflect. What do you think went wrong? I mean, if there's some technical aspect, maybe you just didn't prepare. Obviously he's a triangle specialist, and he seems really good at that move. He reminds me of a Joe Pearson, a guy from Jens' team there in Iowa, who's really great at him as well. It seems you can't stop the guy from hitting him with it, But what in your mind now, looking back and reflecting, what do you think went wrong for you in that fight?
Well, what I know went wrong is I was in his guard, and he got my right arm, my elbow out to the side, should have kept my elbows in, and he got his leg over my shoulder, and that's where it went wrong. I was practicing all camp, keeping my elbows in, not letting him get my elbows out, and he did.
And before the fight, I'd read a couple of interviews before the fight, and I know that you had said that you didn't know if the UFC was in love with your style completely. They said main card fighters finish guys, and I don't think that that's true. I have no problem with your style. You're a 3-time All-American wrestler for the University of Minnesota. Obviously, a Jay Robinson trained guy. I'm a big Marty Morgan fan. I used to go to that camp every summer, so I have no problem with your style. I think you're aggressive and go after it. But do you think that you may have almost incepted yourself? Because after the fight, Dana said, no, you're not cut. You're not getting cut. You're not getting released. We don't mind this guy. Did that play at all on your mind going into the fight?
No, I was actually fairly comfortable in that fight. I didn't feel in danger at all. I made that one mistake, and he capitalized on it. I actually felt pretty comfortable on my feet, and when he was trying to take me down, when he pulled guard, I was like, fine, I'll go to the ground with this guy. I'm not too worried about his ground game. There was no reason for the loss other than I just made a mistake. I wasn't anticipating a loss. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I didn't mean anticipating. I just mean a lot of times when we put added pressure on ourselves as an athlete, it seems to be counterproductive is all.
Oh, no. I'm not going to put no added pressure on myself. I was pretty relaxed out there.
So where would you like to go from here? What do you see any opponents that you personally would like to match up with? Or are you just one of those fighters like most of them? Hey, whoever they tell me I'm fighting next, I'm fighting. Do you have anybody in mind, or are you just ready to step back in there as soon as possible?
I have nobody in mind. I can't call it the top 10 anymore. I don't really watch too many fights. I don't know too many fighters. I don't know their style or anything like that. So it's kind of be hard for me to call out anybody. So I guess it is just whoever they give me, I take.
And just to change directions here a little bit, I know that you had said you had a new political target. Obviously, you've had some comments in the past about President Obama. Some people loved it, some people hated it. But you said that after this fight, in your post-fight speech, you were going to basically take aim at a new political target. And since we didn't get that post-victory speech, who is the target? Who are you talking about?
Well, I guess we'll never find out, will you?
Oh, I will personally. I'm going up there and training with you and you're getting the W quick. I want to hear it. Oh my God! So what?
Going on if I didn't win.
Oh, weak. So now you're just are you gonna go back to the picking on the rest of them? I mean, what gives you those political views? Is that something that you want to do? Are you using fighting? Not using fighting, but is that obviously we can see you going in a different direction later on, taking the intellectual side of MMA and going after there and pummeling onto the political world.
Well, that wasn't my goal initially, but I was just so irritated right when my initial after Antonio McKee's fight, when it initially started. I was just so irritated with Obama that I just went off on him on camera, and I don't know. It was just something that was in the back of my mind, and I decided to voice it. Obviously, there's a lot of fans that hate it when fighters or athletes bring politics. They don't think athletes are smart enough to talk about politics or anything intellectual, but you know what? I've got 10 years of school behind me. I own my own business. I'm pretty sure I know enough to say what I want.
And what led to those comments? I mean, obviously you said you had some frustration. I believe you said someone needs to knock some sense into this idiot, and also said maybe he should have a glassectomy. I believe a glassectomy was one of yours, that he needed his belly button replaced with a window so he could see out because his head was so far up his ass. What led to those comments? I mean, a guy doesn't just wake up in the morning, especially a guy who comes to a state where someone like Michelle Bachmann, I mean, is one of the leaders, for God's sakes, and say, I just hate Obama. What led to those comments?
Well, his policies, they affected me. The biggest one was that making home affordable plan. It was a pain in the butt to deal with that. If you don't know anything about the policy pretty much ended any kind of negotiating between the bank and the homeowner, so there was a lot more foreclosures happening, and that kind of hit me. And that Obamacare, that's kind of a joke. Pass the bill and try and fix it afterward. Not going to work that way.
No, and it probably isn't going to work that way.
No. Insurance companies have a lot of pull. They got a lot of lobbyists that eventually they're gonna form the new healthcare plan to make it better for them, and that's going to hurt a lot of the smaller clinics. And that's what I have. I have a small clinic. Dealing with the insurance companies is a headache, and that's what my main irritation was.
So let's look ahead. Obviously, this year we're in a political season as it is now. I mean, do you feel that Mitt Romney could be the answer to some of these problems?
No, I think Mitt is just the same as Obama. I'm going to vote for myself. I want to write my own name in there.
Oh, I love it. Hey, I love it. I mean, personally, I'll take somebody like that who goes out there, obviously puts on the line, individually steps out there, and wrestles, and he's fighting and he's doing the things that he wants to do, So, I mean, you have my vote when it comes to that because, again, to stand out there, it's almost like you're standing on your own 2 feet. You're not hiding behind this policy. You're not hiding behind, these different issues that are coming up. It's just kind of like, here I am. This is what I do, and so I'm for it. I like, that you stand up like that. You're going to have my vote. That's no joke.
You got to put Jacob Joseph Volkmann, not Jacob Christmas. My middle name's Joseph, by the way. You got to write the whole name in there.
So Christmas, good. Yeah, any chance that Lloyd Christmas could be like your campaign slogan though? I mean, use maybe the Lloyd Christmas moniker as the campaign poster, maybe an "I want you," kind of a Dumb and Dumber thing there.
No, I was actually thinking about trying to get Hardy because Hardy had a shirt. He was trying to put Dan Hardy for president. He made his own shirt. He's trying to get his own shirt, Dan Hardy for president. Like, what the heck? Where'd you get that from? And then I think that's Kane Velasquez. He had his own T-shirt too. Ever seen those Obama shirts with his head on there and it says change on the bottom? That colorful. It's
oh yeah.
Kind of like red and yeah. Kane Velasquez had his own shirt with his face in there and it had some other words on there. So everybody's taking the political.
Don't you think that Dan Hardy, with Hardy running for president, don't you think that's going to bring up some further issues?
Well, the fact that he's person who's not U.S. born, that's going to be a big issue, I think.
It usually is, yes.
It could cause a quick kink in the political barrel there when he's. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna move over here. I'm gonna run. But at the same token, maybe they're just like he's probably got to be fed up with a lot of things as well. Me personally, I'm just I probably should pay more attention than I do, but at the same token, it's kind of like nobody really takes care of the poverty. Nobody wants to take care of the sick. And, you got badly abused women and children out there that are struggling. And like you said about insurances, they want to take your money, but every time you try to put in a claim for someone who ever even steps into the hospital, they're like, no can do. But you got someone else who spends pretty much every other goddamn weekend in the hospital because they ate too much or they're just not feeling good. Their blood pressure's high. They don't train. They don't really like to get fit. So for the most part, I guess I'm the negative aspect of it. Politics is always saying it's people like you that there's no changes. But at the same token, I'm like, it's people like me that just realize it's the same damn circle. And if somebody actually would step up like I said, I'll take a wrestler or a fighter, anybody that's going to put themselves out there individually and stand up for what they believe in. I'll take them over someone that's just going to try and play poker with me on a daily basis.
You better don't have a chance, though.
Right? I mean, see, I try to stay out of it because, again, I learned a long time ago, you just can't bring the fighter/wrestler into the business meeting and that whole emotions on your sleeve thing. Tends to tear people up when they want to go in there and they're trying to be politically correct and say the right things. So do you pay much attention to Sonnen and his rhetoric and the way he goes about how he carries himself in, through fighting, but allows him to take that political step that he does?
Well, I've only seen some Chael talk one time, and it was after that Stan, when he beat Stan up. That was the only time I ever seen him talk. Well, actually, I saw the Anderson Silva one, too. Them are the only two fights I've ever seen him. I've never seen any interviews, so I really don't know much about Sonnen. That whole hormone replacement therapy he's taking either. I don't know too much about that. The situation is.
Yeah, he's a different bird. He's got his opinions for sure, but at the same token, he backs it up, and it's almost getting to the point that it's actually pretty funny, and it's pretty cool to watch him. He'll go up onto the scale, and actually he'll pull up a mic, and it's debate time. It's like a damn election. All right, it's debate time. I know you're hungry, but we're going to talk about some politics around here, and I'm waiting for you to bring it home yourself, and I want to see the same kind of thing. Next guy you fighting, you got to start hitting him with some tough questions right after weigh-ins. But so with that, hey, go ahead, please.
I didn't hear you. You kind of cut out there for a second.
Oh, did I? See, I'm boogling. My fault. I'm jumping around. No, my question is, so after what do we got next? I mean, when do you want to get back in there? And, what is it? Do you have a hidden agenda behind it politically, or are you just going out there trying to drop some people and keep the W's going? Get that streak back.
I'm just trying to keep the W's going. Right now, I want to try and fix my elbow first. I had a medical in the he hurt it pretty bad in the last on Saturday. I'm going to try and get my elbow fixed and hopefully get back there as soon as I can. I'm hoping within 4 months I should be back in there, but we'll see.
All right. Well, it's getting warmer, so you should be able to get out there and do some jogging or whatever. But, yeah, man, let that elbow heal, and we wish you all the best. And you know what? You're just one fight away from starting that streak again, so I want to wish you all the best, and we'll keep in touch.
All right.
Okay, bud. Be good.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Talk to you later. Abel Pulver.
Hope 2012. Hope 2012, Pulver. Anyway, our next guest. I've been waiting all day. Obviously, this weekend, my older brother here. I'm going to take over. I'm going to flip the old script on this guy.
Here we go.
This weekend, you received some news, obviously, kind of talking about your future and what's next for Jens Pulver, coming off a big win at Fort Hood. What's next for you, dude? Tell me what's going on.
Well, I'm thinking, I've been sitting here just kind of debating, and, the reality is, I think there's some people starting to hang they're hanging up their gloves, hanging up their fight shorts, and I've been asked that question now for a little while. What are you going to do? God, stop punishing us. Quit hurting. You're going out there. You're going to get punchy. You're going to be drinking through a straw and all this other shit. And it's, the reality is, I try to tell people, man, I never got into this thing for money. I didn't get into fighting to, try and be famous. I went in there to change my name, and, I enjoy it. And physically, I feel great, but, mentally, that's the game. And that's what keeps me going is people always ask, and I guess the last thing is, I do have a fight coming up at the end of the month, and people ask, or end of June, and they always ask, why are you doing this and why are you doing this? And it finally really dawned on me. Actually, after talking to you a little bit, I tell people, one of the reasons why I fight right now is so I don't hate the sport as much as I do, if that helps.
So let's talk about it then. This June 29th, is that the date? Am I correct, or is it the 28th?
I believe it's the 29th.
So a month from today, you're going to be fighting. Where are you going to be fighting?
I think I'll be in Montreal. I finally get to get all that cleared up. It's when you're the what is it? What are we able? We're the aliases to a 9-time felon. It causes a little alertness when you try to leave the country, and they got to figure out. You know what I'm saying? When you come flying in Philadelphia and all those alarms, you got yourself a pretty sick escort. So, you're like, well, what do you do? So I have to get that part cleared up, and make them realize, I'm not Dustin Pulver trying to escape the country or, anything like that. But with that getting out way. Then we're gonna go up there and we're gonna fight Pelletier. And I think I'm saying it right. It's like I like to just call him Little Zambides, the way he throws, the way he fights. And so we're gonna go up there and we're gonna fight him.
Let's talk a little bit about Pelletier. He's 6-1. He's a guy that he has 3 submissions and 3 TKOs on his record. He loves to get in there and bang. He uses a front kick, a lead kick to get his hands off to kind of close the distance. How do you see this fight matching up stylistically for you?
Well, let's see. I mean, if I decide to be the idiot that doesn't move or duck or punch, it's going to be painful. It's going to hurt like I'll be damned. But if I decide to pull my head out of my butt and actually move around like I can, and kind of just take it further from the Fort Hood fight, which was too much running. I mean, I had to chase after a fool like I had track shoes on. And, this guy definitely is going to be right there and punch and hit. And it's just go back out there and do the old miss and hit, hit them and then make them miss, hit and miss and, look for the ground. I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know where it happened or why it happened or how it happened. I just cannot stand to grab people. You wouldn't think I was an All-American wrestler in college. You wouldn't think I did anything that was wrestling inclined the way I fight, recently. Too much boxing in my, in my past or whatever. So my goal every day is to, grab a hold of people again. There was a time I'd just be running after people trying to hurt them, and so, and I know he's got, 7 fights, 8 fights, but in this day with the amateur that they had and the amateur I never had, I still remember one douche leaving a tweet the other day. Yeah, you're fighting guys. Yeah, and I'm like, man, shut up. What are you talking about? Yeah, I have this many fights, but I'm also looking at my record in the end. I go, I'm struggling, and I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to fix some of the things that ail me, and so you catch some people, man, do us a favor, just stop. And I'm like, how about you stop? Stop eating. Put the food down. Go train. Go jog. Go do something, man. Shut up. I mean, I'm sure when at the end of the day, when you go at my funeral, I'm sure you won't be standing there. So kick rocks and hit the road, and going into this fight, though, not to jump. You see, I want to go into a tirade, but I'm going to quit. I sit there, and my big thing is just to do the things I know I can. Have I ever had a knee injury? 1. Have I ever had shoulders? No. Elbows? No. So I spend every day, literally, I'm at that point. I have forgotten more than most people learn. So it's trying to get that style back where I'm comfortable. And I don't, like I said before, I don't get into that cage and go, God, I do not want to be here right now. I hate it. So the biggest game, fighting a guy who throws mean hooks like this, duck, man. Put your hands up. And if they hit you, you hit them twice. They hit you twice, you hit them 8 times.
Let's talk a little bit about the training. Obviously, you're a month out for this fight, but you've been staying in pretty good shape after the Fort Hood fight, especially. What are you doing every day? Tell me a little bit, take us through a day, especially for these people you're talking about, why are you still doing this? Hang them up. Tell us what a day in the life of Jens Pulver is like. That'll probably, I think, put in perspective for some of these people just how actually physically capable you still are.
We get up at 9 because I have now finally figured out how to go to bed before 4 in the morning. So I actually go to bed pretty early. So I'm up around 7, and then I go to the gym at 9. We wrestle for, we basically set the clock, and we're in there for an hour and a half, and we're wrestling. We're drilling takedowns, drilling, and going live on our takedowns, finishing to the floor. And then we go in and do 5-minute goes. And then we pick up from there and we drive over to the boxing gym, Alley Cat Boxing, and I go through all my station. We do 5-minute rounds. So, you got your 2 5 minutes of shadow boxing to warm up. You go 2 5 minutes on the heavy bag. You go 2 rounds on the double end. You go 2 rounds on the uppercut. You go 2 rounds on the mitts. Then you go into the tie pads. So then you go 2 more rounds on the tie pads. Then you do 2 rounds of the speed bag, and then we're done, and we try to get home before 2 o'clock, and that's where I'm averaging. On an average, I'm averaging about 6 to 7 miles every single day running, which, again, in 1 week, I've probably acquired more than I'd probably have done in an entire camp before. So I go out and we go run our 6 or 7 miles, and then from that point, what daytime I have left, yard work, son. I'm back out there. I'm hauling, chopping, drilling things. I'm learning how to be a a landscaper. I'm learning how to do home improvements. I'm having fun, and that's, after spending the time I did up there with Kern, I want to thank those guys so much. I love them to death. There was nothing personal. It was just time to come home after a year. I just miss being home. So I'm here, and then I get to hang out with my kids because, I am a dad, and, so I get to spend some time with them. And then I usually, we'll go to bed, and next day, here we go again, and so it's been a lot of fun, and, I'm enjoying the training aspect of it. I'm putting in the amount of time I put in. Again, if I'm old, then there's a lot of young people that need to start picking it up a little bit, because you ain't doing shit if you ain't going past me. So again, it's just that's a full day, man. Up at 9, and I'll be done about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then it's yard work and having fun, hanging out with the family for the rest of the day.
And a double-sided question here. Obviously, you seem to be taking a lot of joy right now in your training and getting ready for the fight. You seem excited. Tell me something that a lot of people may not know. What's the best thing and what is the worst thing about being Jens Pulver, about being Little Evil?
Well, definitely the worst thing is the anxiety and depression and all the things that have killed me throughout the career, man. The constantly wanting to slam my head into a wall and just, man, going out of my tree, can't sit still, absolutely can't be happy for what I have accomplished, cannot smile for the things that I've achieved. And, it sucks because I just read another letter where I helped this kid get through college I wrote him a note, and this was in 2003. I just printed it out. It's pretty sick. I Twittered it at one point. But, the regrets, I didn't want to have the regrets. And the suck is now I find myself in 2012 with nothing but, and it's like, God, and so it's hard not to sit there, and I'm my own worst enemy. I have beaten myself up more times than the guy I'm about to fight, and that's no joke. I mean, I'm absolutely that guy. I'm the mental dipshit that sits there, and I will put myself down 1,000 times over and just F this, man. This is just going to suck and yada, yada, and that's definitely the hardest part. People always see me, and any one of you ever say I'm an ass to the fans, you don't know. Shoot. I have to go around and tell people, hey, I'll just be sitting over here in the corner. And I go, so please, if you want to say hi, just come up and say hello to me, because the only reason I won't come up and say hi to you, it ain't because I'm too cocky, it ain't because I'm too busy, it's because I'm too damn shy, and I'll just be sitting over here. Same reason why I don't like doing seminars. I don't think anybody will show up, so it's that's a tough thing to beat, man, the mental side of it. But I think on the positive side, being me, is that I was a world champion. You call me what you want, man. Just finish it with former world champion. Call me a dickhead, former world champion. Call me crazy, former world champion. Whatever. Now it's just, the idea is this, and I tell people all the time, I spend more time remembering what I was, because what I was not some kid deciding to get up out of his chair and burn some fat and rip off a couple of smart-ass comments on a forum. What I was one of the best fighters on the planet for my time. For the people that I fought, against the people I fought, I was the world champion. I was a pioneer, and I was the man that did it. Am I holding on too long? I'm alive, so no, I'm not holding on too long. And that's the one thing that I do have. I do have a pedigree that made me a world champion. So what I'm trying to reach into, that bag of tricks I'm trying to grab, are covered in gold, UFC gold, and there's a big difference. I'm not reaching to a bottomless, rusty-ass barrel that never had anything trying to fill it. I'm trying to reach in there and scoop around and grab the things that made me what I was. And if anything, like I said, what it helps with, and the positive side of it, is I can take those things now and start to branch towards the future that I used to. Again, you go look at the documentary, I at one point actually am one of the only guys who ever reverted to retiring as dying. And that's literally how I felt. So on the positive side of being me, that, yeah, I'm reaching back to a world champion that I was. Am I holding on too long? No, because I didn't hold on to shit as it was. So, that's the good thing. But again, on the negative side, I can't shake anxiety and depression to save my life.
Well, let's change gears a little bit and talk about some of the guys, like you said, retirement and whatnot. Mike Brown, a great friend of ours, one of the best guys we've ever known. He retired on Saturday night. Mayhem Miller, somebody we're not very familiar with as far as on a friend level, but a fighter we've watched for years. He retired. Then I want to talk to you about something else though, besides retirement. And this is a like rising from the ashes like a phoenix. Jamie Varner, he was kind of down and out. He'd been cut from the organization. Obviously, he gets his shot. So let's just go perfect world here for you. What is your perfect scenario, and what would you feel satisfy you enough to walk away from the sport?
I think the biggest thing is, right off the bat, when most people walk into a fight now, the first time around, you had your team around you, everybody was pumped. You wanted to achieve something. You wanted to get to the UFC. You wanted to get to that world title. The hard part after that is two things. I learned the older you get, the less you pull the trigger. I just heard that the other day. I can't exactly tell you where I got it, but oh God, it hit home like a horseshoe, just pinging me upside the head. You forget to pull the trigger. You stand there and you watch too much. You don't, when you're younger, you're just bombing. You don't even think, man, you're just bombing. Bite down and just start throwing. When you get older, you're trying to aim and you're trying to look for that perfect moment. And guess what? The guy across the cage is looking at this. I'm coming up. That's the former world champ. Watch this explosion. That's why the first 2 minutes are usually a nightmare for me, because I'm like, whoop, there we go. I'm trying to slow down. So, yeah, that's the first thing you have to at least admit or overcome is pulling the trigger. All right, you got to get back to pulling the trigger. If you don't mentally have that, and this ain't even talking about the physical side or anything like that. This is the mental side. Can you pull the trigger again? Can you push all that stuff aside? Can you stop kicking yourself in the balls that everybody that you started in this sport with? Money is not a problem. They are big. They have made it. They have torn it apart. They have lived that life. Again, I love you all. My hat's taken off to every one of you. But to shake that and go, yeah, well, I'm this guy sitting over here, lost on this one, lost at this one, didn't get this one, yay for me, kind of thing. It's hard to get motivated. So I'm trying to find that deep, like you said, trying to find that end game result, that peace of mind. Where am I trying to take all this to? I've said it once, I'm trying to just get back to the sport, give back to the sport, and just not hate it as much as I do as a fighter. Because of the regrets that I have, I want to walk away with no regrets. And, there's still things that I know I can do. I'm not reaching. Step into come spar me. Come wrestle with me. Come run with me. Come do anything. If you think I can't physically do it, it's not physical. It's so hard to explain to people about mental and the mental side of what's just crutching me, anchoring me down and holding me down is this goddamn anchor that just will not go away. And so that's what I battle for, and ultimately get back. If I can go to the UFC, that'd be great, but more than that, if I can just put wins together and make myself proud, make you proud. You've been with me from the first damn day I even decided to do this, when I took my shirt off and still had my wrestling shorts, socks, and shoes on,
Yeah.
to where we've been to winning a world title. To Abel, you've been with me from day one, which is why I wanted to do this show with you, and I think more than anything, when you feel like, my brother's done all right. Mentally, he's done all right. And I can pull those belts out of wherever they are. I think you have most of them. And I can actually look at them again and not just want to, step in front of oncoming traffic. Then I'm done. And, it's a mental thing. I'm not physically pushing it too long. And like I said, the new guys and people that want to make their comments, I appreciate it. But all the supporters and all the people that have watched the film and all the people that I have helped who sent me this email today, I love the people of MMA. Don't get me wrong. I love UFC. I love the fighting. I don't love fighting with me. When I say I hate the sport, I'm talking about internally, myself. So that's where I sit, man, and that's really where I'm at. And to be able to have that smile when I walk away, because still got a whole another life to live afterwards. And damn, if I want to regret, that used to be what I was afraid of more than anything when I first started, man, the regrets,
Well, speaking of walking away with no regrets, let's do it right now. 1 month from today, you're going to be fighting Stefan Pelletier in Montreal. Last question I'm going to ask you for the day, and I'll let you take over from there. What are you going to do to win this fight?
Bite down, make 135 like it's a like it's a fight. Go out there and enjoy it. If I have to, I'm gonna put a smile on my face, but I'm gonna fight, man. And again, now everybody knows. If you haven't, make sure you listen to this. I'm fighting to walk away. I'm not fighting to start again. This is it. This is the final push for me. And so, you know what? To find that moment where, all right, come here and get that anger back. They don't have to be my best friends. Gotta, I don't have to get into that position where they got to say something to piss me off, and then I'll go out there and go after them like Cub Swanson or something. Now I have my own pent up anger, pent up aggression, and I'll be excited. I'll be excited to get out there and fight and just not hate that cage as much as I do sometimes. And again, then we walk away and have a smile on our face. So just watch, man. Watch in a month. Watch what happens. But above that, watch how I look. Watch how I feel. Watch this training. I'm gonna continue to smile, continue to do this, and continue to do this show all the way through. And that will be it. I will shut up because I talk a lot. I've got my producer saying, "Hey, let's wrap up this interview." This guy's a chatterbox, so I think we'll call it a day. With that, personally, Abel, I want to thank you. We had a great time. We got to talk some NASCAR royalty. We got to talk to Volkmann. We almost got him to throw out his political views, and
yeah, man, Obama 012 and rubbing is racing.
There, right? I mean, how are you gonna beat that? And then you got anxiety, depression, and this guy, wrapping it up. So, great interview at the end there, Jens. Well, thank you, Jens. I appreciate that. No, best of luck to you next time. Thank you, Jens. Abel, I really appreciate y'all having me on the show. We'll take care. All right, buddy, be good. So with that is the end of episode 7 here on Just Scrap Radio. Remember, get out there, tweet it, bring it up, sell it, wrap it. I don't care what you do, but let's get this bigger, you guys. Get out here. Let's start talking about it. Let's fill up the forum. Let's, this is what we do, man. Me and Abel, we're having a good time. We've had some crazy, different, interviews. We've had some great people on here, and I think, I like the way that we're going. And so again, I appreciate everybody taking the time to tune in, or definitely hearing it on the replays. So with that, with Pedro, Abel, myself, I want to say thank y'all very much. This is another Just Scrap Radio session ending here at bjpenn.com. I'm no longer going to say the peace and the hair grease. I'm just going to say, hey, we'll talk to y'all later. Be good.
Mahalo.